Hello guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to be recapping October 8th's NHL action, looking at the highlights, and looking at the overall best plays of the night, and of course all the best storylines. Now, so far you guys have enjoyed the series, I've enjoyed making them, and in today's video we'll be recapping 4 NHL games from last night, October 8th, and of course there's a lot of storylines with injuries and other happenings around the NHL too. Now, the first game of the day was between the Boston Bruins and the Ottawa Senators. This was an afternoon game. It was the first game of the day, and the Boston Bruins ended up winning 6-3, but it was honestly a pretty good game throughout. The Ottawa Senators didn't have the worst effort in the world. And of course, the biggest storyline coming out of this game is it's Patrice Bergeron's 4th hat trick of his career. He looked very good in this game, has some excellent shots, and of course, Craig Anderson isn't the best goaltender. We learned now that he scored the most goals in his career versus the Ottawa Senators, more than any other team, and he obviously has been an Ottawa Senator killer for the last few years. And overall, that first line did a lot of damage for the Boston Bruins. Pastrnak had 2 goals and 2 assists, and Marchand had 3 assists on the day. That first line was lethal for the Boston Bruins, and they pretty much did all the work for the team. On the Ottawa Senators side of things, Dylan DeMello had 2 assists, Ryan Dzingel had 2 goals, Shabbat with another assist. Again, it wasn't the best game in the world. They did outshoot the Boston Bruins, but it wasn't the greatest result, of course, not getting the win. You would like to see the win, but of course the Ottawa Senators are not looking to be competitive, so that might be another loss to that tank war. And while the Ottawa Senators started off pretty decent, getting a win and an overtime loss, in this game they do follow the Boston Bruins. Now, one of the more interesting games of the day was between the New York Islanders and the San Jose Sharks. The New York Islanders ended up winning this surprisingly 4-0 over the San Jose Sharks, and honestly, it was a pretty entertaining standpoint. It was a pretty entertaining game, especially for the New York Islanders, who scored 4 goals and of course shut out the San Jose Sharks. The shots were actually in favor for the San Jose Sharks. They outshot the Islanders 35-30, but honestly, the Islanders were able to convert on chances. Of course, they got a couple of more power plays than the San Jose Sharks, and they were able to score on one of them. So they did convert on their chances a little bit more, and of course, the San Jose Sharks defense was not the greatest at points here. So the New York Islanders definitely took advantage, and of course, they started their season a 2-1 record, which is better than people do expect for New York, and of course, I didn't expect that start from them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go along with this, and if they can continue the success that they've had early in the season. Now, the best story by far in this game, in my opinion, is Robin Lehner. Of course, he gets the shutout with the New York Islanders after Greiss didn't have the greatest game. So Lehner comes in, plays fantastic against the San Jose Sharks team, who outshot the Islanders, had a few quality chances. They're just pouring on the shots, but Robin Lehner was able to stop all of them and was able to shut them out. Of course, he breaks a little bit of records here with the New York Islanders being the first New York Islander to shut out a team in his debut. That's pretty special. While the New York Islanders did not have the greatest goalie history, that's a very excellent feat for Robin Lehner, who's supposed to be a lot better this season. And of course, in this offseason, he opened up about his struggles with the Buffalo Sabres and his struggles with his life, and how he's trying to fix that. It seems like he's looking much better now and looking a lot more comfortable now, and hopefully that results in a much better Robin Lehner. Last season just wasn't the greatest performance from him, and this next season, the New York Islanders, they could surprise a lot of people if Robin Lehner is good, and as good as he was in this game for the whole season, because the New York Islanders being a pretty decent team, and it all depends on that goaltending, but Lehner has looked fantastic so far. And for the San Jose Sharks, it's a little bit ugly. Of course, they started their season at 1-2. Not what a lot of people expected them to be, of course, getting Erik Karlsson. The power play has not looked good at all to start the season. It's looked pretty horrendous. And even though Robin Lehner did make quite a few good saves, the power play has just not been able to convert for the San Jose Sharks, and they've just not been able to get anything done. So for me and the San Jose Sharks, they've had some worries so far, but if they can get that power play going, I feel like they'll get to be a lot better. And of course, their schedule is wishy-washy for the next couple of weeks, so they're going to have to find ways to get these wins. Now, one of the funnier plays in this game was Adam Pelech, the defenseman for the New York Islanders, had a wide open net on Martin Jones, but ended up trying to pass it cross-crease to Matt Barzal, which is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. You know, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I might as well because that was just horrendous. Now, another close game between the Buffalo Sabres and the Vegas Golden Knights took place yesterday. It was a close game, but it ended up being a pretty good one. The Buffalo Sabres winning 4-2 against the Golden Knights, and for the Buffalo Sabres, they didn't really have the greatest night, so coming out with this win was huge for them. Now they start the season 2-1, and they might look to surprise a lot of people. Now, this game was practically dominated by the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights outshot the Buffalo Sabres 37-17. So obviously the Vegas Golden Knights were looking to have the advantage and were looking to be the more deserving team to win here. But the Buffalo Sabres were able to get it done. Even with 17 shots, they were able to score 4 goals. Jack Eichel with 2 for them, which was huge. He now has 3 goals in the season. You've got some other guys like Scandell and Pominville chipping in with goals. So overall, for the Buffalo Sabres, while they were really outplayed by the Vegas Golden Knights, they were able to score the goals when they needed to, and Carter Hutton came up big throughout that whole game. Now, while the Vegas Golden Knights start out their season 1-2, not the greatest, it still is early. We're only 3 games into the season. Who knows what happens 10 games later. But the Vegas Golden Knights did play pretty well in this game. Of course, getting 37 shots was amazing for them. Carter Hutton was just fantastic for the Buffalo Sabres. He made quite a few good saves on Vegas, so I wouldn't worry totally about that. It was more about a goaltending performance rather than the Vegas Golden Knights playing bad. But for me, I think the Vegas Golden Knights will be better in the next game, and hopefully they'll be able to score a little bit more goals next time. Now, the last game of the day was between the Anaheim Ducks and the Detroit Red Wings in Anaheim. This was the 25th anniversary for the Anaheim Ducks. They're using their 3rd jerseys, which are honestly one of the best in the NHL, so it was honestly a beautiful game. Now, this game went into a shootout, and Troy Terry gets the winning goal for Anaheim. He's a pretty solid player, by the way. And Anaheim wins it 3-2 in the shootout. Some solid saves by both Gibson and Howard, and it was a good game throughout. It was honestly not the most exciting game, but there were some good moments in here, and for both teams, again, they get the point, and Anaheim actually starts their season out 3-0. Again, while I still have my concerns about Anaheim and their injuries so far, what they've shown so far, they've shown some youth, they've shown some good plays, and while they've been outplayed for most of these games, for the 2 games that they started out with, John Gibson has been amazing. So while I do have some concerns about this lasting for the Anaheim Ducks, it's a great start to their season, and for them, hopefully they'll be able to get done with these injuries, of course, that they have so far. So for Anaheim, starting off good is key for their season and their success throughout the whole season. But for Detroit, they start out their season 0-1-2. While nobody really expected them to be too good, again, this isn't the greatest start for them. They've shown some talent, they've shown some youth with, of course, Bertuzzi scoring their first goal with a beautiful forehander. Again, the future is bright in Detroit, but it is a rebuilding year, so don't expect too much from them either. Now, besides the 4 games of the day, we did get some news about some key injuries on some good players here in the NHL and some big blows to some certain teams too. Most notably, we got Philadelphia Flyers player James Van Riemsdyk. Of course, he was just picked up in free agency to be the power play guy, to be the goal scorer for the Philadelphia Flyers. He's out 5 to 6 weeks with lower body injury. It's not specified where it is, but for Philadelphia, that's a huge blow to them. Even though it's only out for a month, that still is a substantial time for Philadelphia, who is in the Metropolitan Division. They're going to be competitive, so it is a big blow for Philadelphia if they want to rack up those points early. We also learned yesterday that Brandon Dubinsky of the Columbus Blue Jackets is out 4 to 6 weeks with a strained oblique/rib cage. So for Columbus, while he didn't play the best last season, he had a pretty terrible season, let's be honest here. He did get a goal, I think, in their opener or something like that. So he is a decent part of this team. He is a part of this team, and for them, that is a big blow to their center depth. So while I don't have the greatest opinion of Brandon Dubinsky, he is still a good player for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he still is a big part of that locker room. Now, we also have a key update on San Jose Sharks' Joe Thornton. He, of course, has had some questions with his health in the last few months, some questions with his health in general, and for him, he was just placed on the IR, but there is some good news for San Jose. I think he got surgery on his right knee last season to repair it, or I guess in the off-season to repair it, and now we know that there's no structural damage, which is very, very good for San Jose. While there's not a timetable for when he'll come back, he's making progress, and he could be with the team within the next month. And the last injury that I'm going to note on, while I'm a little bit late on this to talk about it, I'm going to talk about the Roberto Luongo injury. He's out for 2 to 4 weeks with the Florida Panthers, and that's a big blow to their team. And while Roberto Luongo, again, is getting up there in age, he had an excellent season last season. He is still a big part of that goaltending tandem with James Reimer. Now they have to depend on James Reimer to be that starter, which I'm not sure about. They got Hutchison in their AHL system, who was formerly with the Winnipeg Jets, so he's not a bad backup there. But for James Reimer, I'm not sure if he can be that starter that Florida might need him to be, especially if Luongo is out for longer. But overall in this first week, we've gotten some injuries and some tough ones. While there's not really been any stars that have been affected from this, no really game-breaking injuries here. We do have some solid players that are going to be left out from their teams, which will affect some of these teams going forward, especially, of course, Philadelphia with that James Van Riemsdyk injury. But there's another set of games coming tonight. There are 6 games on the docket, so if there's enough news to cover today, there'll likely be another Grav NHL recap tomorrow. But of course, at the end of these videos, I always love to give you guys questions, so let me know what you guys think about the things I mentioned in this video, the games that were played yesterday, and of course the games that are coming up today, and what do you think of the storylines, the injuries, and everything in between. But that's what it for today, guys. If you guys enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. Again, comment below what you think about the October 8th NHL games. Let me know what you think about the storylines and all that. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. Thank you.